10 seconds.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of The View from the Dead Box. We have a special guest star today, Mathew Davies.
Is that how you say your last name, or do we screw
Yeah, you
Okay.
nailed it, dude.
Sweet.
Boom, see, with no practice needed.
No practice needed.
And you play for 843.
Yep.
You guys are based out of Augusta?
Charleston.
Right? Or Charleston, sorry.
Yep.
Obviously, the fucking 843 being the area code. So, you guys, where do you guys typically play out of?
Dude, so right now it's like we are everywhere. We go anywhere that gives us a good paint deal and has good competition, really, right now.
Yeah.
That's really why we go to Augusta, because we're trying to get cool with Darren, the owner there. And so go out there, trying to get more people out there. So eventually he really likes us. And then, hey, man, we'll go out there. We'll set up the field for y'all, take out the entry, something like that. And so we're just trying to get cool with some of the field owners.
Yeah. And we've only that was the first time we ever played there before. But
have you never played there before, Wes?
A long time ago, but I don't think it was that field. There used to be other fields in that area. One, I think one used to be Colors a long time ago. Like it used to be CIA. And this is a long time ago. And there used to be Augusta.
Well, there was Atomic, which we've talked about that incident before.
Can't go back to that one anymore.
Yeah.
But that one closed down. Wasn't it still going for a little bit? And it just closed down as of like a few years ago?
Atomic, it probably closed down maybe 2012, 2013. It's been a hot minute now. Yeah, I mean,
and that was probably like one of the most professional fields I've been to, like legit setups. Besides like paintball fit and stuff like that. But
that was the first time I had ever played
really
at
nice.
Augusta Field. But,
I listened to y'all talk about it, and I just felt bad because like that was their transition time, and they were like, like Darren was coming back in to take over the field, and y'all were like talking about it. I was like, oh no,
no.
Yeah.
I was like, no, because we just showed up because like Darren was like, hey, we're gonna be here this time. We showed up, and everybody was there. And y'all were talking, you're like, dude, we got there at like 8:30, and there was nobody there until like 10:30, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
And which isn't a big deal. If the field was like already set up, we'd be like, all right, well, let's just run some shit, and then kill time. Yeah, that whole like switching from the manager position and all that kind of just really was somebody dropped the ball along the way somewhere.
Yeah, and the problem was that field, like they had gotten broken into like twice in a month, and so he was like, I'm not leaving anything there. So he put everything in a trailer, and he's like, I'm not gonna leave anything there to get stolen again. So I don't blame him on that. So
no, it's definitely it's in a weird location because our GPS kept like trying to take us over some railroad tracks. We stayed at the hotel when we came back from Ohio, right on the other side of the trees. Well, the GPS kept taking us like behind the hotel through a gravel road and over a road. I'm like, this is not right. I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. And then it brung us on a road for like 100 feet and then cut back over into the paintball field. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
That's like going to Fit, right? Isn't Fit like down like a gravel road and like through some trees and stuff, and then you just like
it
pop
opens
out?
Up, it's like boom. It's like 14 turf fields.
Yeah.
What about Extreme Paintball in Jacksonville back in the day? What about that dirt road?
Oh, that was I'm not sure if you played there, Matt. That was in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yes.
You were driving like literally in downtown Jacksonville. Like I say downtown, like right on the outskirts. You're driving and it's an address to a house. You pull down a driveway and it like splits, and then when you pull down it, it has like a fence. You drive back there, and then it's an open like field, and a paintball field like right there, and you can see houses and everything right next to it.
Do you remember going down if you came, depending on which way you came there, one way would take you a paved road, and one way was a dirt road, but it was like an unmaintained dirt road. So it was like we were in like Frank's
300C.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. And we're going like this. And I'm like, oh, we are getting stuck back here, but never did.
Did y'all hear that? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It's crazy. I mean, I've been to some really weird locations for paintball. That is for sure.
What about Jacksonville for that CPSL? We were like, the first time I ever went there, we played a 3-man over the winter, and we're like, we're in somebody's backyard, dude.
Oh
yes. Well, that's like what's the field Mikey first came out and seen us at a long time ago? That was in somebody's backyard. It was a GF away.
That was in Athens, right?
It was something like that, yeah. And then that's actually like legit, some like rich family's backyard. It was like behind a mansion.
Yep, it's one of the biggest houses I've ever seen, and they had just like two fields. Yeah, like it was like the woods, and I'm assuming there was a woods ball field too tucked up in there. I don't really know, but it was just they netted off a little area and divided the net in half, and 2 speedball fields right there. I think it's closed now, but if you go, like, because I'm a creep and I went on Google Earth and found it, and you could see, like, obviously there was nothing there, but you could see where it was cut out, and you could see, like, the telephone poles for the nets, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that was that. And I saw the big ass house, and I'm like, that was it.
100%. That's goals, dude. That's goals.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. So Matt, how long have you been playing, I guess?
Oh, you want to hear this? Yeah, I'm sure y'all aren't ready for this number. I've been playing for 2 years.
That's it?
Okay.
Yeah, that's impressive. 2 years. That's I've just like started in 2018. I came home from spring break, and my brother's like, I'm gonna go play paintball, and I was like, dude, take me with you. And we went out there and we're playing at Paintball Charleston, and he's like, do you want to start a team? I was like, sure, why not? Let's put together a team. And so we put together a team, and in 2018 we played like 2 CFOAs. That was like the last year CFOA did 5-man.
Yep.
For sure. And we played 2 of those and did god awful. I remember we won our first point that we played, and we're like, all right, we can play paintball. And then we just got destroyed after that. and then that's pretty much like where it started.
That's awesome. So was the team you started, I'm assuming it wasn't 843. Did they pick you up, or did you start 843 and bring everybody else in?
No, we did start 843.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
So we started it in 2018, and then we just kind of had like a falling through with some of the guys. We didn't practice like at all. We legitimately did like 3 practices and 3 tournaments, and that was it. And they were like, guys, we can't do this. So a bunch of them went and played for HCR because they were playing the MVPS and all that. And so they were like, we're gonna go. These guys, they're going to Florida to play. And so we're like, all right. Well, then my brother found out about the CPSL in 2019, and so we're like, okay, we'll do that. So race to 2 sounds like fun, and we started going to CPP to practice, which is Carolina Paintball Park, and that's where Crisis owned the field basically at the time. So we went out there not knowing much, and just we're getting our shit kicked in by semi-pro players.
It's the best way to learn.
Yeah, like legitimately, just like I remember like there's multiple points where we would run through, and like 3 of us would get shot out, and like just like off the start box, and I was looking around like, this fucking sucks. And then we started playing CPSLs, and that's like kind of where everything started to kick up and get a little bit better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But nobody likes to hear that, but that's like the best way to learn. Like, I've never been in an area where I've had that, so I've always had to like either bring players in and then coach them up to play, because we're like 2 hours from everything that's an okay field, and then 4 hours from all the tough competition.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a really shitty location. We've always been that way, but you definitely see that with players that are in like big locations that you see a lot of the pros now are getting like younger and younger and younger. So it's crazy because when you can practice every weekend against lines that are D3 and up, it's easy to catch on like so quick because you're not drilling bad habits, and you have people standing over you and helping, and it is amazing to be around that. But God, like I'd give anything to have that around here. And so we're slowly trying to build now with a field we have now. It's going to come around, but for the longest time we always just like played ourselves. That's all we ever had. Nobody really wanted to travel, so we were always just playing ourselves, and then we go play an event and like, hey, we were like, we finished pretty decent. I'm like, oh, it's cool. And then we never really got like shit on all the time. So I think if we got beat down all the time, it'd be like, all right, we probably got to figure out a different training regimen here.
Yeah,
but we always like this. The GFOAs, we won almost all of those in the open division. The CFOAs, we always play like D2 or D3, so we were always like fine. I'm like, all right, well, it seems to be working out. But nobody ever cared. But as of the last like 2 years, we've definitely struggled in the X-ball side. Some of the guys, including me, haven't played a bunch of X-ball. I had a long time ago, but I think some of the guys being able not to practice that format before, it's a whole different animal. Because 5-man, it's like even before where you're used to like one game, like you beat them one time, boom, you know what I mean, and then you move on. But I mean, that's how the NXL is. You play 8 teams one time, and then you race to 2 in the finals from there on out.
Yep.
So
MVPS is the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
No, is it? No. I think MVPS is you play every team twice.
Is it you play every team twice? Okay.
Yeah, you play every team in your bracket. Race to 2.
Oh, twice, and then if you need the third match, you play.
Yes.
Is that how it was? Okay, I couldn't remember. The last
NXL is the only one that still does the round robin.
Okay.
And then you go to race to 2 and the Ocho's quarters, semis, and finals.
Yeah, this was my first year playing X-Ball. And I've literally been playing paintball since 2004, and then played tournaments from 2007, 8-ish, and never had played. I'd coached 2 X-Ball events prior, and then I played the first MVPS this year was the first one I'd ever played, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and how is the MVPS, Wes? I always hear you you like praising it, and it's like, oh, it's a great place. And we were gonna go play this weekend, but
I thought you guys were playing this event.
Yeah, well, Cup's happening, and like half of our players are in college, so it's not, we don't have the budget to play 2 tournaments, and especially paying for X-Ball.
Neither do we.
It's funny you mentioned that because Alex, which is the owner of the MVPS, just texted me like an hour ago and said, hey, how you guys looking for the event? And I said, I think we're gonna hold off and just gather money up for Cup. I think we're the same way. We just came back from the CPSL, and he's like, no worries. And then he was asking me how the CPSL was, and we were kind of go over some stuff, but I haven't played the WCPPL, but I hear that that's probably the only other event that could give the MVPS a run for its money. But if you want a legit, and I'm sure whoever listens to this who knows about MVPS is always like, I'm like sucking their dick, because every time we talk about MVPS, I have never really had a bad experience per se with them, really, and it's always run pretty head up. Like there's no favoritism either way, and they bring in refs from all over, and they're typically always certified. There's a million refs all over the place, and there's always 5 to 7 fields depending on when they go, like where they're at the soccer. There's always, because there's so many teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're always drawing like 30 plus, 40 plus per division. They go up, except like D2 and stuff like that. But the prizes are second to none, really. I think the only people that compete with them in prizes are the WCPPL. I know MVPS has, I think just for D5 race to 2 5-man, it's like man, don't quote me. I think it's like $2,000 cash, then half off entry, or $1,000 cash, $1,000 certificate, and half off entry, and then something else, and then prizes, which is great for D5 5-man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's insane.
Yeah,
that's more than like NXL pays. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I asked you because I haven't heard much about the MVPS. But like I talked to Jen, the girl that takes photos, and she was like, she played at the WCPPL, and she was like, it's ran great. Mike Hinman owns APX paint, so it's like you're buying paint basically at cost out there and everything else like that. And I was like,
that's the only thing nice. I say. A lot of the VM guys play the WCPPL, and both Chris's always tell me like, if you want to play an event, play WCPPL. And I'm like, some of the VM guys, like Reese Stock is the one of the like main guys down there at the MVPS now, and it's the only thing I've ever seen. The difference between the WCPPL and MVPS is paint price. I think WCPL is a little bit cheaper per case, and that's obviously because Mike Hinman owns APX, mm-hmm. So that is the difference. But other than that, they're very, very similar, same way. So
you
can't really bitch about it either.
And those
way.
Florida players they're pretty good too.
Yeah, that's usually it's Florida and California, and then Texas are usually the best. Yeah. So that's kind of like we were talking about it, and like, well, if like 2 of our core guys are D3 next year, we're probably gonna play D3. And I know the CBSL is talking about talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think they can do it, but I think it'll only draw in like a few teams. They won't have a lot of teams. That'll be so. And right now, like I'll look right now. I bet the the MVPS probably has 25, 30 teams maybe in D3.
Yeah.
Which is just unreal. Let's see, Let me see.
How did you like the AXBL that y'all won, right?
Oh yeah, we did win that. Yeah. It was so I'll tell you, like I told everybody else, is so I went out there and I guested on I-75 for the third event. And so that's just I don't know if y'all know who Alex Hicks is, but
Alex Hicks, me and Alex have played together like on and off since CFOA like D2 days, probably like 08, 07.
Oh man, so you go back with him.
Yeah. We played against each other all the time in the GFOA. He was with Majestic, I think it is, right, Mike?
Yes, it was
and
Majestic.
then Magically Delicious.
And right? All with Dave Hunley too.
Dave Hunley, yeah. So all the same. There's that whole like southeastern like crew of guys I either played against forever or played with of somewhere. It's how it's always been.
And like Dave Hunley is in like I think he's in Brunswick, but he plays down in Jacksonville. So then you got Alex up in Atlanta, and a lot of them would go to like Macon was always like a midpoint for everybody. So
yeah,
everyone. I mean, it's the same with you guys in Carolina. I'm sure y'all see the same faces.
Yeah,
fields you go
all the time. Yeah. So he was he's good friends with Steven, which is the guy on our team. And so Steven grew up playing at Nitro. Him and Brantley are the two guys on our team. They grew up playing at Nitro. And so he was like, he texted me, he's like, do you want to go play a tournament? And I was like, yeah, like, because they wanted me to pit for D5 on Saturday. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, do you want to play Sunday too? Yeah, I'll play Sunday, So I showed up, helped them pit, and they played for the Peachtree Pirates, which they won 3 out of the 4 of the D5 tournaments that they had there. So they were doing pretty good. And then we played with I-75, which was Alex's team. And so we went out there and I was watching these guys play and I was like, this does not look like D4. And so I was excited. I went out there. I probably played like one of my best tournaments I've ever played out there. Played Dorito side for the first time in a tournament and just went out there and feasted. And so I was like, I looked at Steve and I said, if we play this, we'll probably win it. And so it's like, oh, okay. So we showed up for the 4th tournament. And I mean, the teams like did like a whole 180. Like a lot of them looked a lot better and they were playing a lot like more together. They had like guys on the roster that were D2, D3. And so they're like, okay. But we went out there and we like played a pretty good event. And I think it was just, we played the Billy Bernaccia layout, which it seemed really fast. Billy Bernaccia is one of those guys dives into the snake and just flies down the field. And so the snake side was pretty good, but the Dorito side was just really slow. And so I played the Dorito side. And so we just chilling out, shooting our guns, dude. And eventually like we made it into the playoffs. And then the team that we were supposed to play had played D5 the previous day. And they were just playing on Nitro's field is rough.
Yeah. No, trust me. We know.
Yeah.
It's literally like concrete.
Yeah, so they were like, dude, we're done. They're like, we brought 6 people and 2 of them are hurting right now. It's like, we're not playing. So we're like, okay, we're into the finals. And so we played that and then we played Steam. And it was just like, I guess us playing against really good competition. And then like, if you don't have really good teams around your area, it's going to be like hard to, get good looks against other people. So we won like 6-1, but the Nitro, like excluding the field, everything there is just so nice. Yeah. So like the pits were super nice. Like they had like the scoreboards and everything. Everything was working fine. The paint shot really good. We were shooting like GI 5-star. So everything went really well out there. And I really enjoyed it. The only thing I could have said was the field to be a little less hard. So
and the parking situation is
you like
that's the one. Is that same when you drive your car down a mile down this road and you drop the gear off and you drive the car back up and have to walk back down?
Yeah. And then they play rec ball out there too. So like you're like sitting there with your mask off and there's just like paintballs flying by. You're like, huh?
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, but the event ran like super smooth. The rest were really good. Like I really couldn't complain about anything event wise, And so we were talking to Darren at Augusta and we're like, dude, like either you should run CPSL because he's got 2 fields out there.
Yeah,
like either run CPSL or like the AXBL out here or something. Because I mean the field's nice, and he's got everything out there, and they can get another bunker set or something like that. And I was like, run some type of tournament here. It's like we'll come out and help ref if y'all need it, but like the AXBL was really good experience. So I know y'all didn't have the same experience with it.
I've never played it. I
haven't played it in a very long time, but the events that I did play, it was a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as a MILP was. So I guess that
yeah. It's kind of like that first CPSL tournament, like when we had guys playing from Augusta on our team, and Brantley was like, dude, I can't play in another tournament if it's gonna go till 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it's crazy. Somebody asked me the other day, like if you guys would have done. I mean, we did not have. We should have did a lot better the last event. We just couldn't get our shit together. And they said, if you wouldn't have gave your spot away the first event, you probably would have easily taken second or third in the series. And I said, yeah, I'm not trying to play till midnight. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, especially with the prices the way they are, like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
Jamie that he drove me and him there and back. We literally got home at 2:30 in the morning. He left to go to work at like 3:30. Like he went in and basically cleaned. It's like, what the fuck?
I listened to y'all last week and I was like, oof, man. Yeah. Like, because y'all missed out by third, but what was it? A point and a half?
1.8 points.
1.8. That's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're a bunch of dicks. We literally left, got food, checked the thing, and we're like, we should go back. We actually might be.
But I'm looking at and I still, man, and maybe you can figure this out. If you heard it last week, but we played terrible, right? We got together the second part of the day. It doesn't matter. But we beat the best team. To my eyes, we beat the best team there. Fucking 5-1 them into the dirt. Well, they fucked us out of that call. I'm sure you heard of. That whole call with the ref call my guy back, and we sure argued that, and we did argue for 30 minutes and didn't do anything. Still didn't give us the point. Whatever. Anyways, we go back. So I'm looking at the score. I'm like, man, if they finish 6th, we take first place or third place easily. And I'm looking at the points. Well, they went into the quarters and they got fucking 0-4, and then the other team got 1-2. I'm like, well, the team that got 1-2 is clearly fifth place. A 1-2 is always better than an 0-4. And I don't know how it works. I don't know exactly how the point separation works, but I guess it counts from prelims as well, which it should not. When you, in my eyes, when you wipe it and go to the quarters, the semis or whatever, it's a new day. Like, so you go to the quarters, what you did prior doesn't count over anymore. It's where you finish. And you got 0-4, you should be 6th, and so on and so forth. But, obviously it counts for prelim separation, and they probably did a lot better than the other team, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but so.
PB Leagues math. That's we just make that a new saying. PB Leagues math.
PB Leagues math. That's
he told me that. I'm like, and I was gonna get the prizes and leave. I'm like, dude, they got 0-4, so they're definitely 6th place. I'll go ahead and can we get the prizes and go ahead and leave? And the dude was like, no, we gotta wait till they put the math in. I'm like, math. I'm like, they got 0-4, they got 1-2. 1-2 is better than 0-4, and he's like, yes. I'm like, so that's 5th. He's like, yes. I'm like, all right, can we go ahead and get the prizes and leave? And he's like, nah, man, we gotta wait till we do that. I'm glad because I would have just took the shit and ran. And
yeah. Where's our money at?
Yeah, I would have.
Like, it's 2 hours back towards Savannah now, boys. You're gonna have to track us down for it.
Yeah, and so the other thing was like, whenever I told y'all about the field, I listened to one of the podcasts, and y'all were like, well, I don't know, it might be like because it's new and everything. And in my head, I was like, yeah, I don't know yet. And then you got out there, and I listened last week, and you're like, that field was fucking hard. I was like, yeah, it was hard, it was slippery, and I was like, man, like I wanted to tell them like, y'all know that y'all could probably do something to make this feel like a little bit better some type of way, but it was like it's really hard to play on that field. So
I took a chance, and I was at Academy hoarding ammo, and I was walking out the door, and I seen a sign that said like 60 to 90% off cleats. I'm like, well, I have a pair of turf cleats already, and I found another like two pair of Zooms, and like he zoomed, and they were like turf cleats. I'm like, let's see what the price is, and it said like $18. And I'm like, oh, what's the discount? And it said 90% off. I'm like, maybe that's what it was before. I walk up there, I got my pair of Zooms and her pair of Zooms for like $7.80 together.
Jeez.
So I said, well, I said, I'm gonna fucking buy them. So I told her, I'm like, I'm gonna wear these things in the event, and everybody else is kind of slipping around. I'm not gonna lie, those like steel, and they're definitely illegal, but those steel turf cleats were hooking, and I'm like, everybody's like, you're gonna bust your ass out here. I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, I know if they look at my cleats, boom, definitely penalty, fucking major. Like, fuck them. I was not risking breaking my ankle running.
Yeah.
When our turf was in Statesboro, I actually had turf cleats that were metal also. They were track cleats, I believe.
Yes.
That's
why I bought this Asics. I have the Asics that I love. Yeah. And I'm like, I bought this for that. And the hell, one time I didn't bring my shit. And I'm like, damn. I started looking around. I found my pair of Nike golf shoes in the car. I'm like, these will probably work for turf. And which they did. They worked just fine. So I was like, just in case you guys are wondering, if you play golf and you have a pair of golf like spread feet cleats on you, boom, they work perfect for turf. Don't worry about it. Just slap them on.
Yeah.
Heavy as shit.
Yeah, I had watched a Dynasty documentary. I can't remember which one it was, but Ryan Greenspan was like, "Yeah, the turf was really hard, so we put socks over our cleats." And I was like,
"Oh, interesting.
Maybe I should put socks over my cleats." So I brought an extra pair of socks. Well, I didn't account for the fact that my shoes are bigger than my feet, so the socks were too small to go over my cleats. And so I was like, "Dang, man!" But my brother's like, "Next time we come out here, you should put socks over your cleats and see if they work." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that," because it's like an hour and 45 minutes from Charleston, so we go down there pretty often to practice.
Now, to my understanding, I've asked a couple of times. We used to play at Charleston a long time ago, but they really don't have a thing out there right anymore. I mean,
yeah. So
everybody asked like, don't go out there. Like it's a waste of your fucking time. I said like, okay. I'm like, well, I thought the Kings play out there, and they said no. They fuck around all day. I said, well, they have a team. Like, what do they do? And he's like, that's what they do. They fuck around. He's like, you get there at 9. They dick around till 11. They play a point every 30 minutes. He said they're just kind of like enjoying it, having a good time. I'm like, okay, so don't go to Charleston. He's like, no, it's a 2-hour drive for you guys for like nothing. He's like, drive another hour and a half and go to like CPP. I'm like, which we wanted to go to with you guys to CPP, but it was tough to drive 4 hours and then come back, and then the next week and drive another 4 hours and come back again. I'm like, it's just the grind is real.
Yeah, me and Mike were talking about this before, but so we used to have. I listened to the one with Chuck, and he was talking about the 2 fields. So PBC is the one that the Kings and occasionally HCR and us practice out of, and then we had Compass. Well, Compass was like the private field behind the church, the big church they have out there. Okay. And our buddies Greg was running it, and so he was like the coolest guy. He had private field, like a brand new air compressor. Everything worked fine. And he would charge us $30 for a case of paint. You buy more than 5 cases, $30 for 3-star. So we're like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Well, we go out there, one on a Sunday and practice against the Hitmen. They played last year, but we go out there one on a Sunday and practice, and spend 60 to, $90 a piece for each of us, and like, have a ball out there. Well, they closed down this year. And so now I'm taking it for granted how nice it was out there when we could just go out there, and not have to spend any money and play paintball all day.
Everybody does, though. Everybody always takes those prices for granted. And like, man, then they get used to it. And they have to go somewhere where, like, I'm going to be honest, if you go somewhere, a nice field and a decent setup where you aren't bothered, you don't have to like wait your turn to play, you're probably always going to be looking at $100 for 2 cases of paint and entry and air. That's about average for like 2 decent cases of paint and everything for like, tournament level paint. And a lot of guys like, we'll be at 30. Like, listen, I know I go to the NXL, like it's $20 a case. Like I understand, like that's how it is. I have wholesale accounts for HK. I know what paint costs, but the field has to make some money, right? So, and I've been on both sides of the rope to know what, the difference, but nowadays teams will go there and then they want to pay $70-$80 for 2 cases of paint, entry and air and all that kind of stuff, and it can happen sometimes, and sometimes it's fine, but more times than not, you gotta look around these like rec ballers that are playing, and they're paying like $60 a case of paint, or they're paying like $50 a case of paint plus $20 to get in the fields. They're paying $70, sometimes $80, as our last field was for randoms, to go play and just go like shoot paint in the woods, and they're paying like $80 a person. I'm like, oh my god, we got guys that are paying $80 for 2 cases in entry, and they're like complaining. I'm like, dude, you don't know. Some areas are terrible.
Yeah, that's how Charleston is. So Charleston, like, dude, I went out there the Saturday before the CPSL to just play with the Kings because they had open speedball, and literally it was probably 250 people there. And it was like all rec ball, dude. And there was like probably 30 of us playing speedball, and it was so many people. Dude, I've never seen as many people at a paintball field before.
Yeah.
So we go out there, but the reason we don't go out there, the field is not very good. It's like, it's really, so they try and take care of it, but it's just the ground's really soft. So whenever you hit it, you just sink into it.
Okay.
And so that
is better than the opposite, I would think sometimes.
Yeah.
Concrete,
Yeah. But like
when nitro.
Yeah, oh, definitely. But it's just like they have two spots for fields, and if it rains, the one floods, and so we use the other one. But they have the I don't know if you've ever shot the Zap Cryptic.
I haven't shot Zap Cryptic, but I've shot Zap like 15 years ago. I didn't know there was so much paint.
Yeah, it's hard as a rock, and so they charge $10 for entry, and then 45. It's the
leftovers from 2004.
Yeah, probably, dude. It's that hard, but they charge that, and then it's 45 a case for the cheapest paint. So we $100 for 2 cases of paint, and I was telling Mike this, but like that stuff doesn't break. I got bunkered. I went out there and played rec ball. I got bunkered twice, like within probably a minute, and got shot about 7 times from literally 3 feet away, and none of them broke. And I was just like, this stuff is hard, you know? And so like, that's what they sell us. And so for us, we're just like, you know, we'll pay $80 for 2 cases of paint, but we're not going to pay $100 for this bad of paint, you know?
Yeah.
And so we just don't go out there. And so we always talk about it because they have so much land out there. We're like, if they invested into, you know, a turf field and then sold us paint for even that same paint for, you know, $35 a case and $10 entry, we'd go out there and play more. But it's just like all those factors together, we're just like,
not gonna happen.
Yeah. And the Kings go out there and they set up the field and everything. And then I was told they don't get anything off, you know, they still have to pay entry, and they set up the field and everything.
A player, I will say, I will keep unnamed, did tell me that you have to go up there and like, if the field's not set up, they don't set it up. You have to either like request ahead of time to have it set up, and if not, like hope somebody's there to set the field up, because they kind of just do their own thing. Like they kind of like cast out the speedball players, which sucks. And I understand from the field that's not where the money is. Like, I understand. Like I told Mike on one of the casts, like we'll shoot high end paint and cry about it for $45 to $50 case of paint. And the rec baller can shoot like dog shit paint and breaks every shot in his barrel, and he just has a blast.
Yeah,
$60 a person. So I understand that from the field. And my father owned the field for like 15 years, so I definitely see it from both sides, 100%.
Yeah. So CPP is like the complete opposite, though. CPP is amazing. So not PBC Rock Hill, but Carolina Paintball Park, which is like right outside of Columbia. Billy is the guy that runs the field there, and I'm really good friends with him. Like every time I hit him up, I'm like, yo, can you get us, you know, this many cases of paint? How much will it be? You know, and he gets Pro Char from in Augusta. So
same guy, right?
Yeah. And so I'm like, hey man, we need this layout up. We're bringing this many people. We need this many cases of paint, and he doesn't charge us entry because we buy so many cases of paint from him. And so it's like, and the field is amazing there. I don't know if y'all have ever been there, but it's
KMA kind of, and maybe he's on a different field. He said they play at one of those fields and it's not a really good field. That must not be the one.
So I know that KMA goes out to CPP, and then they also go out to Rock Hill. Now Rock Hill's rough. There's a lot of good competition out there,
then
but there's dirt patches, and then after the dirt patch is like a foot tall grass, and then another dirt patch. So it's really inconsistent, and then the paint's inconsistent out there. The pricing's a little bit inconsistent out there. So it's like all those things. But like when you've got semi-pro players and, you know, like Crisis D3 guys that play 7th at Vegas going out there and playing, you're like, dude, I'll pay, you know, $80 for paint and go out there and play.
Yeah.
So
I think I only played Rock Hill one time. I think it was a CFOA. That's the only time I've.
Yeah, that's all. Like all the CFOAs happen there. So.
That was
who played at the last who played at CPP?
So the Warriors played out there, and then Crisis was out there last year, but then they decided, most of those guys are from Charlotte, so they decided just, you know, go somewhere a little bit closer to home. But CPP has occasionally KMA, and then the Warriors
Warriors are pretty decent. They seem to always hold their own. CPSL, it looks like.
That's a different Warriors. That's a different Warriors.
I've never heard of 2 different Warriors.
Yeah. The Carolina Warriors, they're really cool. They're a bunch of high school kids that play. So, and then they got a couple older guys. But if you ever see the PPL, the 3-mans, they usually like always win in D6 or D5. But they're really athletic. Yeah, they're really athletic. They just, you know, it's just like we would go out there, and, you know, he was like, you know, hey, we need 25 cases for this practice. You know, $35 a case, no entry. So it was like super affordable, but when you're going out there and you're playing against people that are D6 level and D5 level, it's like you can only play so much. I mean, we went out there one weekend and we played in like we only had 4 guys, and we legitimately lost 1 point out of probably the 15 points we played, playing 4 and 5s.
Yeah.
So it's just like after that, we were like, we love coming here. The place is so nice, but it's just like we're not really getting any better coming out here and playing. So
see, that might be somewhere like besides organizing a practice here. Is I'm not. You say we're outside of Columbia because Columbia is only like 2 hours from us.
Yeah, I was about to say usually like y'all are 2 hours from everything basically.
Yeah,
so yeah,
we wouldn't mind going there and setting up like a a multiple team practice, because if we can bring the competition to that field, then that's the best thing to do. If the prices are good and the field is great, we can always bring competition. Like that's not a problem.
Definitely. And that's why we started going to Augusta too, was because I mean the Jungle Cats were practicing out there, and they had placed top 8 in multiple NXL events. And we were like, dude, we need a team to kick our shit in. So let's go over there and get our shit kicked in from them, which is like an experience the first time, because I don't know if y'all know who Joey Dippolito is.
Yeah.
He loves
the whole like Alex crew. Like
he loves to yell at people. So our first time out there, he's like cussing us out and everything, and we're like, we don't like it here anymore. We're always cool with everybody. The 843, like when we show up, we're like, hey, everybody's like, what's up? But we got out there and we're like, we don't like it here. And then after we like let it sit, I was like, let's go out there and get our shit kicked in again, because it's gonna make us better eventually. Those guys have been playing for forever. So we were like, let's just keep going there, because they'll be out there, and then like y'all are 2 hours away, like everybody in Charleston is 2 hours away. So it's like people in Atlanta 2 hours away. We can get everybody just like kind of meet up there. And that's why we started that one Facebook group, is because so like Nitro's closing down, people are gonna need somewhere to practice that's not classic. So I was like, let's do it. Let's make this little center point that everybody can come out there and play, because the field's not bad. So
So you started 843 2 years ago, basically. And then you also told me you played for Clemson. Did you start the Clemson club, or did you kind of pick off?
No, the Clemson club's been around for like forever, I think. But I started playing last year for them, because I wasn't too big into paintball until 2019, whenever we started doing good in the CPSL. And then so I was like, I want to play for the Clemson club. So I went out there, and we usually have pretty good funding from the school. But as of recently, like Clemson's kind of changed up their club policies. And so I think that you have to like fundraise all the money you want to get now. And so like it's kind of hard to get a bunch of college kids to like spend their own money to play paintball. So we were planning on playing nationals last year, which actually fell on the same weekend as the Fayetteville event for CPSL. So we were like, we'll play it. We've got a little bit of money. Everybody's paid their dues, but then it got canceled because of COVID. So we played like one tournament at CPP. They had a tournament there, which is the one that Reese talked about, where they took first and second.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard to play in tournaments when you literally like can't practice, Yeah. So like I was like, hey guys, we're going out here. Me and Drew both play. Drew Heiners on the 843. So we both play for Clemson. And we're like, hey, we're both going out there to practice with our team. Like everybody can come out there. It's going to be, $70 for 2 cases. And that's it. Like you can ride with us and everything. And we didn't get anybody to come. So it's like sick. We're going into this event and only 2 people have practiced. And it was on the Vegas layout. So, I mean, that layout was a ton of fun, especially like Snake player. Like I just had a ton of fun out there. But then again, like we got our shit kicked in. So it was like we had fun playing. A lot of those guys, it was their first tournament, but it was just like, it was rough. I
think who's the tall guy on your team? Jet black hair. I think it's dark hair.
He's very tall.
Yeah.
I know Alex is really tall. And then I think
he was a college player at one time, I think, because he bumped into me on Friday, Saturday after the event. I was talking to him, and I was kind of like walking on the field Saturday after the D5 guys played, and he came up and started talking. And he knew a lot of the same guys that I knew at the same time, that I think used to either play on the old GSU team back in the day. And we were kind of like talking. I cannot think of his damn name. I see him all the time. And I think he guested with somebody else at a different event, like at the CPSL. Like maybe he played with somebody else.
Oh, I know you're talking about. I'm trying to think of his name. Sparks. Is it last name Sparks?
I can't remember. I think so. He's
he's
a pretty tall dude.
Yeah. He played. I think. Does he play with Nemesis?
I think it's who it was with.
Yeah. He graduated, I think, in like 2014. So he was like way before my time. But I was talking to him because I played with Nemesis at that last CPSL. They were like, hey guys, we need a solid Snake player, and having a YouTube channel, they were just like, we already know this guy can play paintball. So they're like, yo, come out and play with us, like practice with us and everything. And so he was out there and he was like, he actually asked me, he's like, because Clemson got custom CS 1.5s whenever they first came out. Yeah. And they had like it got an anode and everything. And he was like, do you know anybody that want to sell one of those? And I said, dude, I was like, I've tried to trade my CS2, which is like the Violence CS2. I don't know if y'all have ever seen the Manchester Firm one. Yeah. He's like, I've asked to trade mine for that and they won't even do it. And I'm like, come on, dude. He's like, I'd be willing to do $1,000 for one. I was like, you're probably gonna have to go a little bit higher than that, dude, to get a gun off of one of those guys.
That was how the Georgia Tech players back in like 07 or 08, a lot of them had and it wasn't even anything crazy. It was literally just black NXT shockers with Georgia Tech. Like that was
yeah.
And every now there's only like 8 of them. Every now and again, like I'll be scrolling through and see one, and someone's wanting like $850. I'm like, and it's just a standard body NXT. Nothing fancy. I'm like, seriously? Jesus. Like, I mean, it's cool for a Georgia Tech person, but other than that, it ain't worth shit, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
I know, right? Reed would love it.
Yeah, you're gonna put it up on a wall and that's it. Yep. You're never gonna shoot that thing. Yeah. So
I think it's something to do with the Force.
That's all.
Yeah, y'all all have forces now. I saw that picture on Facebook. I was like, golly, that's the most forces I've seen in one spot besides Dynasty, dude.
I didn't even think about that until somebody said it. Somebody said, well, are you guys like sponsored by him? And I said, we're a dealer for him. And he was like, see, I don't see any teams like using them. I'm like, well, they're hard to get. Like they only build like, I think it was like 5 a week is all they can put out because they're hand built by Yosh and them. So like they can't mass produce them. And I think maybe that's what scares a lot of teams off is like they want to buy a gun. Like, hey, I got money. All right, let's buy a gun tomorrow. And they all go buy guns. Like you can get CS2s like off the shelf. Like everybody's got them. So go, give us 8 CS2s and they're done. Come in 4 days, they got you. You know what I mean? Force like, all right, well, what do you want? Okay, cool. We'll have them ready in like a month. And like,
yeah.
We all had our guns, so we didn't really care. So we just kind of like bought them. Like, all right, when they come in, they come in. We didn't really care. We'll just check them out. So, verdict's still out. We'll see that they are completely different animals. They don't shoot like any gun I've ever shot before. My only drawback of my whole entire gun is they are poor on gas efficiency, but the shot quality is very smooth. And they're not broken in. And everybody that I've seen say something online about them, every single person says, just wait till it breaks in. Like the gun is like night and day. Well, what sold me, and I bought one at Cup last year, what sold me is I walked in the booth and he had a demo booth. And I'm not sure if you went there and checked it out. I shot it and the gun, my favorite shooting gun of all time is probably my original, one of my Lux OLEDs. And it was like the smoothest shooting gun I've ever had. And I shot that Force and it was as smooth, but it was like smaller and it fit in the hands great. I'm like, my buddy shot it. And he was like, let's go buy one now. He's like, if it shoots like this, he's like, this is the best gun I've ever shot in my life. And we got it out of the box and they did not shoot like that.
Yeah.
So I pulled like, what you call it? Yosh aside and said, hey man, like, like, listen, I know you guys got like some settings. And he's like, no, our guns are stock. Like they're no different. Same bolt. He's like, we don't open them up. We literally turn them on. They're already in NXL mode. He's like, we crawl your guns at 280, 290 out of the box. They're done. He's like, you'll have a card in there with the 3-shot reading of what we put on it. And that's how we shoot our guns. He's like, nothing else is different about your gun to our gun. I'm like, yeah. Like for real. Like, I know we can adjust the dwell and you turn the dwell up. He's like, our guns aren't dwell dependent. He's like, you can go up or down and do a little bit, but you'll never ever notice it. I'm like, well, why is that one super smooth? He's like, yeah. He's like, that's normal. I'm like, okay, well, I've shot 5 different Forces. We bought a whole bunch of them in the beginning. I'm like, they all shoot not rough, but they have a little bit of ping to them, and they are a tad kicky compared to yours. He's like, they got to break in. He's like, these guns are super tight. He's like, there's a reason that. What did he say, Mike? There's a reason.
I don't remember.
2.5 million shots and with no O-ring changes on the bolt. He's like, they're tight. I'm like, okay. So
this is Yosh Rao telling me this. I got to take a little bit of feedback from her, something,
like,
right?
So I'm like, all right, we like break-in period. Like, what are we looking at? Like 20,000. He's like 50, and I'm thinking, I'm like 50. I'm like, fuck me, dude. I'm like, most guys get rid of the gun at 50, and I guess to them, it's like that's only about a month or two of play, so it's not a big deal. Like, yeah, just break the gun in, dude. I'm like,
I firmly believe that gun I shot at Cup because y'all had to pull me in. No. I firmly believe it wasn't chronoed higher than like 250.
I said the same thing, but it was in a small booth. I said the only way this gun was shooting that way, it was inside. Yeah, exactly. It's in a small booth.
That's what I thought too. I was like, because it sounds like it's hitting that, you know what I mean, at a decent speed. But I was like, it can't be. But I mean, I was in line with y'all too. I almost bought one. I was like,
it was. I'm telling you, they were wild smooth.
And
I held it with one hand, like just holding the gun off the side and shot it and ramped it. It was like, and the gun didn't even move. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, this thing is ridiculous. I'm like, I'm sold. I'm gonna buy it right now. Like, got my ass.
Yeah, I was about to say, I shot it at cup. That's the only time I ever shot it. It was like super responsive. Like when I pulled the trigger, I felt the shot. You know? Yeah, it was like, and so I was just, it was a shot. Because obviously I'm new to the game. I shot like 3 different guns at the time, and I was like, this ain't for me. Because I shot a DSR. I was like, this ain't for me. Like DSR's almost got like that pop it shot. You know, it's like super soft and poppy. And I was like, man, it's like I shot the CS2. I really liked it, but I was like, that gun's not for me. And so, but everybody complains about the weight, and I've just heard like it's not really that heavy.
I think the gun is 4 ounces heavier.
I think it's heavy.
Say what it is.
I think it's heavy.
It's got 2 batteries in it. So
it's 4 ounces heavier than our rippers. But I also think it feels different because the gun's smaller. So I think all the weight is like centralized on the gun, so it feels like a brick. But when I weighed them side by side, it's 4 ounces. And I made that comment to him. He's like, if you're complaining over 4 ounces on a gun, he's like, you should probably hit the gym. I'm like,
I mean, apparently I need to. I think it's a fucking boat anchor.
You're like,
but it does weigh like 4 ounces. And I'm like, 4 ounces. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's a quarter of a pound. Like, dude,
and you're the light guy, right? You have what, the 45 tank?
And I don't think I'm going to be able to use that on that gun. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so you only get like 3 pods, 4 pods out of it or something like that?
That's pushing it.
I was about to say, because you don't shoot more than 4 pods, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, in the event, I was only shooting like 2 or 3, so it's fine. But this practice right here, like, I adjusted and played it a little bit. I was roughly looking at the gauge. I was shooting like 800 psi to 1,000 psi per hopper, and we're using controls, mind you.
Yeah.
So
that's like, 200 balls. So that's a lot less.
Fuck, dude. I'm like, this is a lot of air I'm losing here. You know. So
yeah.
We'll see. You know, I'll let it go. I'm kind of curious.
See, I think I can get like 6 pods total. Like, so I could probably get a hopper and 5 pods off my 68.
Yeah,
that's about what I'm at.
I see you guys saying that with a proper bore match, they're scraping 7 pods with a 68. Yeah. They're like scraping it, which is fine for you. You're never going to carry that, so it's not a huge deal. But I don't think I'm going to be able to use mine. So,
how many pods do you carry, Matt?
So my rule is a minimum of 6. See, because I know y'all. I've listened to y'all.
It's that new style paintball, man. Yeah, I'm telling you.
So the thing is, man, if I get in a bad spot, I never want to have to worry about that, you know, especially even playing. I'm a 1, you know, I'm always going in somewhere. I'm running in like full speed diving. It's like, I don't want to have to worry about it. If I get stuck in some spot, even if I'm in the back, I don't want to have to worry about running out of paint. And especially if one of them busts open, I'm like, for me, if I'm like, I remember we went to a practice once, and my brother was like, all right, we only have 8 cases for the 5 of us. We're only taking out, 4 pods. And I'm sitting there trying to hold down the tape. The guy's in the 50 snake, and I've shot 3 pods already. And I'm over there just like, I was like, oh no. So as I came off and I said, dude, I cannot do this. I'm never going out there with less than 6 pods because I can't play how I want to play. If I have to lock something down, a zone, or somebody's at the 50 snake and I'm the 2 and I have to just shoot over this bunker and make sure he can't shoot my guy or something like that. It's like, I never want to have to worry about that. So that's just me. Yeah. So,
yeah,
I mean, I used to play GFOAs, and this is before we would pull paint, and we would literally go with 5 guys, 5 cases of paint, and we would play a whole GFOA, and we would like take like 4th or 5th, and we'd be like running around other teams going, can we like have some paint, or can we buy a case from you guys? They're like, sure, I guess. Like we're on a bag each. It was the fucking wildest shit ever.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for y'all though. Like that's a lot of confidence. Go there with 4 pods and be like, we're about to just smack some kids. Fake.
I've never ran out of paint, not once.
Yeah, I tell Wes all the time. Like the minute if I shoot 5 pods, I will carry 6. That is like my mentality.
Yeah,
and I've never shot 4. so I don't even need my 5th.
The only time I got close is the event we won. We had back-to-back overtime points, and they went like 4 minutes, like 40 seconds. And I just shot, and I looked at my last pod, and I said, but it was already under a minute. But the problem was we were so like playing defensively. Like I got to the 300 on the break, and I just sat there the entire fucking time. It just shot the entire, never ever left it. And I was gun battling, and then we literally picked them off one by one. And I'm like, we won with 5 bodies up, but it took 5 minutes. It literally hung the flag or hit the buzzer at like 4:30. I'm like, Jesus. And I look back, all my pods are out. I'm like, that was a fucking grinder, huh?
Yeah.
Like, we're all alive. I'm like, why did we take 5 minutes to fucking do that?
I was talking to Mike earlier, and I was like, that layout was built for y'all. Like that was a sit back and shoot some people out doing some dumb stuff layout. And so we did god awful at that CPSL. We got 11th out of 13th, which is like the lowest I had placed since like 2018. So I was just like, whoa. But we're like super aggressive, you know. We like, Matt, you're going in the snake. So and so you're going up the Doritos side, you know, like we're gonna get up to the 50s and shoot everybody out. Well, that layout, you know, you get up to 50 and you look and you're like, I can see one bunker and there's nobody there, you know. So it was like hindsight 2020. I was like, dude, we should have just sat in the back and shot our guns. And so like when I was watching y'all play, it was like y'all were just, you know, chilling, you know, just sitting back there shooting people out, doing dumb stuff. And I did see there was one point I remember you dove, Wes, you dove into like the Dorito 2, and the ref called you out on like just like a skim of paint. Yeah. And you said, are you really gonna call me out on that? And he was like, yep. And you were like, and you just walked out, and I was like, oh,
I knew it wasn't a hit. I knew the ground was gross, and I did a long slide through it, and my gun was dragging the ground. I came up, I'm like, sweet. And he's like, you're out. I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah, you're out. I'm like, for what? Right there, I'm like, you gonna call me out for this?
Yeah,
he's like, yeah,
exactly.
I'm like, okay.
What said.
All right.
I was just like, oh, that hurts, because I know the ref that called you out, and I was just like, no, like he slid on it, like no.
The paint was definitely shit.
Yeah.
God.
That's this whole, and I really like the CPSL. That was my complaint really the whole season. If I had to say one thing, I wish the paint would have been a little nicer, and not knocking CPSL, but
but I have to play devil's advocate and say it's not on the CPSL because
it was the
fields sold the paint. Yeah. So that's why it was never the same paint. Every field had a different paint.
Yeah, but it was just bad every time.
Yeah,
especially this last event.
Yeah. I feel bad for y'all because I had a pretty good experience with that paint when I was shooting it, but y'all were like, oh, it was awful, it was breaking our guns, and I was like, yeah, because at the first AXBL the paint was like that, and it was 4-star, and I was like, yeah, like the paint came out super dimpled, and then like I was getting ball breaks, and I was like, so I assumed that like y'all were saying we got the good batch and y'all got the bad batch, and y'all's paint was just getting stuck together and all that other stuff. So I was like, we were
dumping pods out that like half the pod was clumped together. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, this doesn't happen.
Yeah, this shouldn't happen. And so like going back to like 2019, that was like the first year that they had 5-man. So like I can't say anything about the paint, but I don't think I ever had a problem with it in 2019. We played D5 in 2019, and that was like the first year that like the CPSL did actual like 5-man. And so we got second in the series behind Tantrum, which unfortunately we took 2 seconds, and both of them we lost to them. So it was just like, it was just, and that's the thing is like, you want to hate them, but really like you have your own field that you can practice at. And I'm sure they get paint really cheap. So it's easy for you to go out there and practice all the time. And so I'm kind of envious of that, you know, but then again, like those guys, like when it comes down to it, they just play really good team ball. You know, none of them are like superstars. They all just, you know, work really well together. And so like, even like the first CPSL at Fayetteville, we had to play them like first round of the playoffs, and dude, like we were just on one. Like we talked to some of the guys that were reffing. One of the guys that was a semi-pro, he's like, I thought you were gonna like podium, at least get third. It's like y'all just had to keep it together a little bit longer. But those guys, they just like whenever they play together, it's just like it's kind of hard to like break their wall, you know?
Yeah.
So, but in 2019, we did decent, and that was like really where it kick-started us like playing together, because we picked up Steven, which he's the like was our snake guy. He's the one that played at Nitro and played at Kennesaw State. And so he grew up, you know, just playing paintball, and he came in, and we were like really set on just sitting in the back and shooting our guns. Like the first CPSL event we played, we shot like 6 pods each point, you know, we just sit there and shoot. Jesus. Yeah, we just sit there and shoot, and we just kill. Like it was D5 too. We just sit there and shoot our guns, and nobody shot that much paint at D5, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we're just gonna sit back and shoot our guns, let everybody run around, you know. And that layout was crazy, dude. It was literally 2 bricks standing up in the 50s, and then they had the 2 wedges like shaped like that. And so you would see people like right in front of you, but as soon as you went out wide, like everything disappeared. So there was no snake, there was no Dorito side. It was literally just the middle. And so us being D5 players, we're like, I'm just gonna sit back and shoot the people when they go up. So
yeah.
So after that, Steven got on the team and he's like, guys, we got to go up there and like shoot some people in their backs. And so he got on the team, and then we actually got second at the next CPSL that we played. And there was actually 23 teams in D5, which was insane. And the funny thing about it is we got second and took home 6 cases of paint and $100 for getting second.
But was that $100? Like that's not after you paid everything. Like that's what you took home, like right?
Yeah, like that was the win. That was the prize money.
That was the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, you get a crisp $100 bill. I have a video of it. He said a crisp $100 bill.
Big fun. So when we won that event in wherever that fucking was, I don't know now. It's been
Jacksonville.
Shit, but
yeah.
We got $1,200, and I said, I'm like in my head, like $1,200. I'm like that probably doesn't even cover my paint bill, and our paint bill was like $1,075. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so shit on us, but I'm like, I would imagine that it would cover, like you would get free entry to the next event. Most places do that. They draw the team back in. Shit on us again. That's not how that works. So
gotcha. And now you're invested too. You're like, oh man, we could win the series, you know? And he's like, come on, man. But yeah, credit to Andy. Like I've seen him, you know, kind of develop as a running a league, and he's really like y'all said, he like takes in a bunch of information. He did the blind layouts, which is, for me, I'm not a fan of them because I enjoy the grind. I enjoy going out there and like really learning a field and like communicating with guys and figuring out what to do here and there. But then again, like it saves people a lot of money, like on practices. Like we can get the weekend before and practice and be good, especially y'all playing together for 10 plus years. Most of y'all, it's like we can get together and go play a tournament tomorrow if we really wanted to on a blind layout, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's like we never had a field to play on up until like the past 3 years. It was always at Wes's dad's house. We just never had a full field.
Yeah.
Dang.
Bunkers.
Yeah. Shit. Oh man. So y'all never had a full field there? Like an actual full field?
Oh, we did, but they were older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we were always multiple years behind on the bunkers. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And
we played on like the mighty field. Yep.
It was a mighty field. I'm not sure if you ever seen one of those. Say right there. Yeah. You're too
nah.
new for that.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm new. I'm 23. So like
they had like weird shaped bunkers that didn't even exist.
Oh man.
And we're playing on tombstones and cubes and cones.
Oh yeah. I was just watching a YouTube video from like Trauma Head 04, and it was like stuff like that. Yeah.
We're playing on that in 2008.
Yeah.
We were playing events. My dad built like, hey, bless his heart, like, you know, he did everything, but we were playing on a wooden field, and you know your little I call them, well, they're 1x2s, but I'm not sure if you've ever seen how stuff is shipped, but there'll be like a bundle of pipe or maybe a bundle of a lot of stuff will have 4 1x2s that have little slots in them. Well, we were taking them and drilling them or like knocking them into the ground, right? So you have 2 inches wide by, you know, or sorry, 2 inches wide by 1 inch thick, and it has a half inch like slot cut all the way down it. We would drive those into the ground like this, and then we would take plywood and stick the plywood in the grooves. So it was like a fucking bunker. Then we were cutting the plywood in half and then making like, some would be tall, some would be short. We had holes drilled in the plywood. That's how we played for a long time. And we won. We played like ACTS Open versus like Manus Factory, like all those pro guys, and beat them into the fucking dirt because we just literally just practice gun skills all day. That's all we could do. So we get there as blind layout, and we get there, and then we just relied on our gun skills the entire time. That's all we ever had. They were mad, big fucking mad.
I bet you were probably the coolest kid in school too. Like growing up, just like, dude, my dad's got a field in his backyard.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's like,
but nobody would ever come out like Mike was. Mike was a little bit younger than me, and I would always inadvertently like run people off. Like I was young, and they
he was a giant fucking prick.
Yeah.
So they would come out to play, and then like I don't want to say I would show off, but I would like play normal to them, but they're like very new, and I would just fucking run them in the dirt. No, but not like a dick. Just like I would play normal, and then they would never ever come back. And like I'm like, okay, well. So everybody in school knew. Yeah, everybody in school knew me. Like that's what I did.
They're shitting on the rec ball kids, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't come back.
You can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it took me 33 years to learn. Like I can't do this. Like
It was fun while you did it though, right?
See, I had a blast.
So you would have been probably what 16 the first time I came out there. You're 33, so you're 5 years older than me. Yeah, I was 11.
Oh man, yeah. I'm sure you got the work then. I would have probably when I was 16. Like you got a gun too? I'm gonna shoot you in your face.
Oh yeah, it was.
We beat the fucking brakes off of him and Jamie.
Yeah, it was. We were. So it was like 04 first time I went there. I've told this real quick before, but tournament we showed up. So we walk across this bridge. We don't know it's a tournament. We don't even know what tournament paintball is. And we walk across so. There's a pro shop, a swamp, then the field. So you say hi to people at the pro shop. If it was flooded, you had to walk on a little makeshift bridge.
A moat.
If not, you could just walk through the swamp. We get through there, and it's this 3-man they're doing. We played that, got absolutely shit on. But after that, I was like, I want to do this all the time. And over 2 or 3 years, I started just coming out more and more and more, and then started actually getting good enough to hang with all them. And I'm still getting fucking beat on.
Yeah.
And finally, oh, me and Jamie, one of our teammates now, actually beat their D5 team in a tournament at their own field. And then another group of guys that were playing at the same time, we lost to them. Then we took basically those 3 teams that was first, second, and third, and made a D5 and a D4 team to follow up behind them. That's how we all got our shit kicked in for many a years.
That's crazy because whenever I listen to the Play the Game podcast, I was like, how'd you get started? Everybody's a birthday. And so my first time playing was actually a birthday, but I was in middle school, but I didn't pick up a paintball gun for another 8 years until I got in. So I was like, I can't really say that's it took my paintball virginity, but it didn't keep me coming back. We didn't get in a relationship after that. So it was kind of like that. And then I got started playing when my brother was like, hey, let's start a team, So it was it wasn't one of those things where I went out there and I was like, man, I love this stuff. I'm going to keep coming back and doing it. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, that was fun, And then once I got out there and started, winning, and then found out that, you can actually shit on kids and have, those highlight reels.
Yes.
It was like that. And so I use this good analogy whenever I talk to the guy that I work with at the gym at Clemson, because he wrestles. And I was like, how it is when you pin somebody when you're wrestling? Because I wrestled in high school too. So it is when you pin somebody, you're you completely control that person, and you've got them on their back, and then the ref hits the mat, and you're like, it's all over. I worked hard, did all these sprints, practiced all this stuff, and now I beat this one guy. Well, on paintball field, it's like doing that, but 4 more times, It's like you shoot somebody in their face and then they're walking off and you're like, oh, there's another person I could shoot, and then there's another person. And so it's just once I started doing that, I was like, I can get into this, I can get used to, shitting on 3 or 4 people in a point and then, getting off and go back and doing it again. And then also hindsight, 2020, as I was getting shit on a lot too. So it was one of those things where people were getting their highlight reels, but it was a constant thing. It's it's going to cost a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it's so much fun. And the people in it were so cool that I was around, and it was this is worth it,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know you listen to the podcast, right? So you probably have a little bit of an idea what's coming up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We do. Maybe you'll actually be able to do them kind of speedy. So
okay.
I know we need to change these, especially we've been using these for a hot fucking minute. And he actually reminded me, apparently we skipped one when we had Johnny.
Yeah.
He said we didn't ask Johnny the steak question. Is that what you told me the CPSO?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
yep.
Which
is medium rare, how it should be.
Terrible.
So I'll go ahead and let Wes take it. He'll let you start off.
You kind of know the list already. So your favorite player of all time in the sport?
Of all time. So like I said, I'm pretty new. So it would either be Carl Markowski or Alex Goldman, because those are two kind of, the stocky snake players, and I'm a gym rat, so I enjoy working out, and I'm kind of a stocky snake player myself. So when I see those guys, I try and emulate their play and their speed is another thing that I really am envious about and try and emulate is like how fast they play the game. So
didn't Mouse play that GFOA also, Wes? Wasn't he there?
Yes.
That
No,
day?
when we
Yeah.
played against Aftermath, it was Zach Wake, Zach Long, Mouse.
Was Marcelo on the team too at the time?
He might have
Could have been.
Because I know
they played on the same time. Yeah.
They got pooped on at GFOA.
Yeah, they did not have it. They did not.
Oh yeah, dang.
They played the MAO and got knocked out, and then hung around because we were playing it open in the GFOA the very next day, like 30 minutes away. So they just came down and figured they just beat the fuck out of us, and they didn't win. Like they did not. That was the first time I ever seen a Lux was there. They were shooting them, and they all had them, and I'm like, oh, those guns are quiet. And, they had not a rough day. They were like melting people, but they went to the finals and did not win. And before the prize even got out, they packed all their shit up and fucking cut out.
I'm sure they were upset, dude.
Yeah, they assumed they were just gonna like beat the shit out of everybody. They didn't want any pictures of them there. Not
Heck no.
They did not.
They're like, you take those jerseys off now.
Oh, I think it was. No, it wasn't Harmon. No, I know for sure it was Zach Wake, Zach Long,
and Mouse.
And I'm assuming Mike Hinman was there too, right?
He might have been there.
Yeah, because he's the one that started the team. So
it was a big old thing too, because they were like, Aftermath is gonna be here, and it was like they were playing with I think Legion of Doom maybe, but it was Legion of Doom's higher team or whatever, however they were doing it. But anyway, drums or flats?
Listen, man, I don't discriminate.
Okay.
That's just how it is. I love wings.
Answer.
I love wings. So really, but I will say that most people don't know how to eat a flat. What you have to do is you grab the small part and you pull it apart. It makes it basically like two little drums, and you could dip them super easily. But most people, do the little. I don't know what that is that they do, but most people do it. Yeah, they're practicing. But like I've learned that, especially watching if you ever watch Speed Eaters, they'll grab it and pull it off. But if you break it apart, it literally makes it into like two little drums. So that's just a pro tip.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little life hack.
Yeah. I eat enough wings to learn from it. So
that's funny.
Your favorite team to watch play?
My favorite team, I gotta say Houston Heat. Being a paintball tuber, a PV tuber, I watch a lot of Ronnie stuff. So I enjoy watching them play.
He has a pretty big page.
Yeah, he does. I actually like watching a lot of his stuff too.
Yeah.
What's your most memorable event?
I want to say, like World Cup 2019 or the AXBL event, which was my first win. But I think the thing that started all was that CPSL where we got second out of 23 teams, and it was just like after that I was like I kind of want to get serious with this. I want to get better, and so that's really what started it all. So I have to credit it to that.
I like it.
Your favorite superhero?
Oh man, so I always hear people they say very American answers, and I'm kind of in the Japanese culture, so I want to say Goku. Goku's my
okay.
Yeah. Now I haven't heard it, and I don't know if people consider him a superhero, but definitely I think
he can be on this show.
Exactly.
What's your favorite gun of all time?
Oh, see, look, I'm new, so like all these guns that I've shot, I have to say I want to say my DSR from last year, but the CS2 that I have now, I'm kind of, in love with. I always wanted one, then I got it, and then I shot my DSR the other day, and I was like, I kind of want the DSR back. But I think the DSR is probably my favorite shot, my favorite gun so far.
Don't tell Wes.
I'm trying to think of another question here. Mike, go to 8, because we already answered the steak question.
So hard or soft, Matt?
Hard or soft? Hey, man, there ain't no pussies in the Hall of Fame. Give it to me hard.
I like it.
What's your best field you've ever played at?
Best field?
Yeah.
Dude, so the most underrated field, in my opinion, is PVC Greenville. They have completely flat and it's turfed out, but they have literally 15 bunkers out there, and 5 of them deflate after a point. So it's awful. The air doesn't fill up all the way. The paint's expensive, but we went out there with Clemson, and I was literally got to the field, and I was like, nobody plays on this field. I was like, it's completely flat, it's turfed, and then I figured out why nobody plays there, because they don't have anything else. So
that's funny. What's the first thing you noticed about the opposite sex?
The legs, dude.
The legs. Okay, that's a nice unique answer. We've got eyes, legs, and everything else that we all.
Yeah, I work at a gym, so I've learned to, you know, that's the one thing I look for first. So,
did you think of something? You're better at that.
Yeah. Well, no, we skipped the other one, so we'll go back. I think I know your answer with the two answers prior, but who's your favorite player, or sorry, the best player in paintball currently?
Oh man, dude. So I want to say I think it's A-Rod. Honestly, just the way that I watched him dissect that Los Angeles field, or not the Los Angeles field, the Las Vegas field. It was literally like he was taking two bodies out almost every point, and I completely thought that Snake was like gonna win the tournament, and I found out that it was the center that actually won that tournament. So I feel like it's got to be either him or Rainey, because Rainey literally has won like everywhere he's went. So
yeah,
interesting. I like it. That was good. We got a few different answers out of you, even though we get to do the same questions. We really will have to.
We're gonna redo that list.
Yeah. So what about you, Matt? So I know you got your YouTube channel. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Go ahead and
get a plug. What is the
So Matt the Gym Rat or Davies Docs, if you look those up, you'll find me. I think I'm sitting at like 350 subs right now. So we get those numbers up, it'd be nice. But I just got the barrel cam a couple months ago, so it's a lot of barrel cam footage and then edits and then basically just what the 843's doing, you know, goofing around. We travel. We basically travel for every practice, so we're always going somewhere different. So it's a lot of just different lugs, playing against different people, and really just, you know, having fun playing paintball.
Yeah, it's good stuff too. And his video in Augusta, you could see him shooting me in the back pretty good.
Oh yeah,
he's coming down Snake Side. I was like, I watched this. I go, that's my fucking yellow T-shirt, you little prick.
I will say my first 3 balls that came out hit you, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yes,
and then
I
just kept shooting after that, dude.
Yeah, no, someone let you walk all the way down there and literally walk the whole fucking side.
Yep.
But well, I am really glad you came on. It was a good one. We'll probably have to do another one of these. I was like, I think we could go for a really long time, but we're probably over our hour minute, give or take here, or hour.
Yeah, it's right. I think it's right at an hour. Yeah. So.
But all right, Wes, did you have anything else?
I think that's it, man.
I did too.
The merch, guys.
Yeah, buy the merch. But we might have something else in the works. You'll know in a couple weeks, maybe. It might be a little bit of a special episode. I haven't told Wes this yet, but I think we're gonna skip the Friday of World Cup because everyone's gonna be playing. It's gonna be a busy week for us trying to travel and get down there too. So I don't really see the point of putting one out that week. But
unless we do a live one while we're down there, maybe a little short.
I mean, I can bring the laptop. We can just record something down there. We can.
Yeah, while we have everybody around, do like a team cast.
Yeah. No, we can do that. I'll bring my shit. That's easy. But thanks for listening. Be sure to check out the merch. Check out all the other episodes. And if you have a topic you want us to talk about, send me, Wes, a message and we'll get to it. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
Later, boys.